So let's get going on our first question with a timeline. And as always, I want you to read through this first problem. And when you are done, post your reading face emoji so that I know that you are done reading it. Miss Coco's also reading.
I did. I also read it, ma'am. Yeah.
If you are done reading and we're giving everyone a chance to just read the question, start thinking about how we're going to solve this one. Since we kind of have two compound interest problems in 1 year. Okay. Right. So we have got, let's again look at the important information and highlight some of the important bits. 8,000 Rand is deposited into a savings account. And then the interest rate for the first 3 years is 3% per annum compounded annually. Okay, so annually, so we don't have to worry about it being monthly or semi-annually or anything like that. It's just straightforward annually. And then thereafter, the interest rate changes to 4% per annum compounded annually. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of the 8th year. Okay, now it is always useful with these problems, these types of problems, to draw a timeline. And I don't want to draw quite such a thick timeline. Let me change my pen. There we go. So let's draw a timeline. Frog in my throat. And we are going to indicate on this timeline certain important things that are happening. So if we are looking at the beginning of this investment, which is 8,000 Rand, that is happening today. We're putting that 8,000 Rand away. And then the interest rate for the first 3 years. So we can go year 1, year 2, year 3. So for 3 years, this money is going to earn 3% per annum. So we can kind of draw it like that. There's 3%. And then after that, the interest rate changes to 4% per annum compounded annually. So, and that happens for the rest of the time of the investment. So for year 4, year 5, year 6, and let me just extend my line here, make it a bit longer. Year 7 and year 8. So at the end of the 8th year, our money is going to be worth a certain amount and it's going to be earning 4% per annum. Okay, so how we are going to do this is we're going to start off with the 8,000 and it's earning interest for the first 3 years of 3%. So we're going to calculate using our compound interest formula what the money is worth at this point here, year 3. And then because the money's grown and it's increased in value, we need to take that amount that we have at the point of 3 years and now work out interest, compound interest on it for the remainder of the time at 4%. Okay, so let's start off by saying what I'm going to have at the end of 8 years is my 8,000 Rand. And for the first 3 years, the money is going to grow. Remember, we change our interest rate to a decimal. It's going to grow at 3% to the power of 3. And we see what that comes to. You can put that into your calculator and pop it in the chat as soon as you've worked it out. Let's see what you guys get. Swallow says 8,741. Let's get some more answers from everybody. Yeah, I think that is correct. That's what I got as well. 8741,82. Okay, that's what we have in the bank at the end of 3 years. So now we're going to take that money and it is going to grow at 4% for the remainder of the time, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So 5 years and 3 years. Okay, so then we go again and we say our principal amount now is not just the 8,000, because after 3 years we have 8,741 Rand, comma 816, which is, by the way, what you must put as your principal. Just use your calculator's answer button to work that out, or you can write it down, comma 816. We must use the full amount, not just the rounded amount. Otherwise, we will lose some accuracy in our calculation. So 0,04 to the power of, not 4, but 5. Okay, and then pop in the chat when you have worked out what that is. Let's see how much money we are actually going to have at the end of the 8th year. Yeah, I also get 10,635,76. We're going to round at the end. We can round to 2 decimal places and get 76. Okay, great stuff. Let's see in the chat, put a thumbs up if you are happy with that and understand that. And if you are not so sure, you can put a thumbs down, but then I would also like for you to ask a question if you are not sure. Otherwise, go right ahead. It's comma 816 because that is the full amount from what we calculated for the first 3 years. That's why it's 816. Okay. Now, I do want to show you how to do this in one step, because it is quite useful and it is a time saver if you can do this in one step. And the way to do this in one step is to say A, which is what I have at the end of the 8 years. I start off with 8%, and that's 1 plus 0,03 to the power of 3, which is what we had here. And then the interest rate changes, so we need to calculate what that amount is going to be worth, 0.04 to the power of 5. And if you put all of that in your calculator, which is what I want you to do now, see if you get the same answers what we got over there. We are going to do another example, Leah Kluma. So don't worry, you can just follow along with us for now, and we are doing more examples. So don't worry. Okay, everyone else, we are doing this one-step option. So put this in your calculator where we go 8,000, bracket 1 plus 0,03 to the power of 3, and then bracket 1 plus 0,04 to the power of 5. So we're basically doing everything just in one step to see if we can save time, because time is of the essence in a maths exam, is it not? Okay, so work that out on your calculator, see if you get the same answer, the 10,635,76. Well, Wendy says yes. 10,635. Nice. Okay, so yes, that's the same. So we can do it this way to save some time. Okay. If you want to do it the other way, that's fine. But this way is definitely quicker. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's see. Let's do our reading glasses again. As soon as you are done reading, post your reading face into the chat so that I know you've read it. Mokoko, because that's what the question says, is that you put the money away first for 3 years and then for another 5 years until the end of the 8th year. So that's why it's 8. It's part of the question. Okay, so now that quite a few have read this, I want you to try this one. Give it a go on your own by just first starting with your timeline. So we've got 24,000 is deposited into a bank account. The interest rate for the first 7 years is 2.25% per annum compounded annually. Thereafter, the interest rate changes to 3.5% per annum compounded annually. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of the 13th year. Okay, so I'm going to let you work alone for about 2 minutes, drawing your timeline, just making sure that you got all your information in the right place, and then we'll check in with the timeline, and then we're going to go to the calculation. So just for the next 2 minutes, work on your timeline. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat, send them over to Ms. Coco, or you can raise your hand. Okay, so we look at today. Today we are putting away 24,000 Rand. And for the first 7 years, you don't have to draw all 7 years, but if it does help you, otherwise you can just go, okay, so 7 years is about here, year 7. For that time period, we are earning interest of 2.5% per annum, compounded annually. So 2.25, which we convert to a decimal. So you can make a 2.25 divided by 100, and that is 0.0225. Okay, so just work systematically, take it one thing at a time. And then for the next 6 years, because we are going to go for 13 years, year 13. So that means there are 6 years here. The interest rate is 3.5%. It changes. So our money is going to grow, our 24,000 Rand is going to grow up to year 7 at 2.25%, and then it changes to 3.5%, and we want to know how much we have at the end of the 13 years. Okay. Kamwa, you don't get marks so much for the timeline, but it is really, really useful. Because there's a lot of words here, and sometimes these word problems can be confusing. So it's a really good way to represent the information without getting confused and making a mistake. And in grade 11, which you are going to go to very soon, you do timelines that are a lot more complicated. So it's a good skill to learn. So that you are ready for when you get to grade 11. Because remember, it's not just grade 10 we think about all 3 of these years as a phase, as 10, 11, and 12. So do your timeline, it's really helpful. Okay, so some people have already posted an answer. I wonder, let's see, and let's also go, let's go for the one-step option. And let's say, okay, I've got my 24,000. To calculate the interest for the first 7 years, we're going to go 1 plus 0.0225 to the power of 7. And at that point, the interest rate changes. So we change our interest rate as well, and we make another bracket, 1 plus 0.035 to the power of 6. Okay, so everyone else, let's see if we can get an answer here. There's a few answers in the chat, but not enough because we are about 70 people and I want to see 70 answers in the chat. So remember that thing about participation. It is the thing that is going to get you through maths. Okay, 1 plus 0.035. And then to the power of 6. The 6 comes from the last part of the investment, from year 7 to year 13, the last 6 years. That's where it comes from. I think we need to check our answers, guys. My answer is very different to yours. So I think we need to check that we are working this out correctly. And remember, don't copy someone's answer in the chat. That's really not useful at all. Just put your own answer down. Do your own calculation. Okay, I think we are all in agreement that the answer is 34474,39. Okay. Right. Any other questions? If you didn't get that answer, let us know. We're going to do one more. I think we have time for one more. Malwandi has his hand up. Everyone else can have a look at this next question and then give it a go on your own while I answer Malwandi's question. Yes, Malwandi?
Hey, ma'am.
Hello.
Hey, ma'am, I used 13 over 6. Am I wrong or not?
Yeah, no, don't. Why do you use 13 over 6?
Perhaps I use 13 because it is for the end of investment.
Yes, so the money grows at that 2.25% for 7 years, and then it grows
Yes.
at 3.5% for 6 years. So we can't
So
use the 13. Yeah.
So we say 7 plus 6, then we get 13.
Yes, but because it's different for the 7 years, the interest rate is different, and then the interest rate is different for 6 years. We can't add the 13 together. We're not working with the full 13 years. We've got two different interest rates.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Right, everyone else, we are working on this question with Portia. Portia invests 500,000 in the share market over a 15-year period. The average interest rate was 6% per annum compounded annually for the first 8 years and 7% compounded annually for the remaining 7 years. Okay, so we're going to break it up, 8 years and 7 years. And how much money does she have at the end? You can draw your timeline, and in about 3 minutes, I'm going to check back with you, see what your answer is. Don't put your answer in the chat yet. Just hold your answer, and we're going to see what you get in about 3 minutes. Okay, so your timeline should look a little bit like that with the different interest rates, and then year 8 and year 15. So we've got an 8-year period and another 7-year period that we need to grow our money. So our 500,000 is going to grow at 0.06% for the first 8 years. So we raise it to the power of 8, and then we grow it at 0.07 or 7% per annum for another 7 years. So together the 8 and the 7 make 15, but because it's different interest rates, we do an 8-year period and a 7-year period. Okay. And then I want you to put your answer in the chat. Let me see what you got for this question. Okay. Well done, everybody. I see quite a few of you got 1, 2, 7, 9, 6, 8, 5,86. Excellent. Good stuff. Well done. That's really great. Okay, yeah, and that's timelines in grade 10. So like I said, in grade 11, they get a bit more complicated. But for now, I think this is great that you guys can do what we just did today. All right. So our last little bit of financial maths we need to do is exchange rates. So I thought we could do a little trip around the world today with our exchange rates. So you need to be able to convert between different exchange rates. And we are going to pretend that we are British and that we've got pounds. So here's our conversion table for pounds. Okay, so how this works is it says here that we've got £1 and then all of these different currencies, because we're going to be going to different, and in these questions we're going to be visiting different countries. Okay, so we're going to be traveling with our pounds and we're going to convert between these different currencies depending on what country we land in. Okay, so let's see where we are starting. So Felix, when traveling around New Zealand, before he left, he changed £685 into New Zealand dollars. How many New Zealand dollars did he get? So just to be clear, we've got £1, and that's our pound sign, is in New Zealand dollars 1,7. So if you exchange £1, you get 1.7 New Zealand dollars. Now, if you have £685, how many New Zealand dollars are you going to get? Put it in the chat if you think you know. Lonelo says 1164. Nsako says 1164,5. I wonder if any one of you want to raise your hand and unmute yourself and tell us how you got that. Maybe Unati or Warren, Nsaku, Lunelo, do you maybe want to unmute yourself and tell us? Okay, here's Ntombi Zodwa. You can tell us.
I multiplied 1,7 by 685.
That's it. Well done. So 685 times 1,7 gives me 1164,5 New Zealand dollars. Okay, excellent. Right, that's New Zealand done. Where are we off to next? We are going skiing in Alberta, Canada. Nice. Personally, I don't like skiing because the one and only time I tried skiing, I fell over many times. So I'm not going to try it again. But anyway, Sadie goes skiing in Alberta, Canada. She exchanged £265 into Canadian dollars. So here's the Canadian rate, 1,64. How many Canadian dollars did she get? Pop it in the chat if you know, if you've worked it out. Sure, Watobians are so quick this evening. Well done. So 1 pound, 1 pound is 1,64 Canadian dollars. So again, we go 265 times 1,64, and that should give us the 434,6. So 265 times 1.64, that is equal to 434,6. Okay, right, off to the next country we go. Natalia went to a baseball game to see the New York Mets play the Pittsburgh Pirates during a break to New York. The ticket for the game cost $35, 35,58 American dollars. So how much was the ticket in British pounds? Okay, so let's think carefully here. We've got 1 pound. Let's just get that exchange rate. 1 pound American dollars is here, 1,22. So we have the price in dollars. So now we have to calculate what the price in pounds were. Put it in the chat if you know, and think carefully. It's not necessarily that we are timesing here, because we have the price in dollars and we have to now work it back to pounds. Put it in the chat if you know. Great stuff. Who wants to unmute and tell us how they did this one? Anyone want to put up their hand and unmute? Bokamuso, you go for it.
Yes, ma'am. So what I did here basically was that I went like the $35.58 and I divided it by per 1 pound, which is now 1.22. Yeah, 1.22. Yeah.
Okay, so that got you the 29,16. That's right. So you divided the 35,58 divided by 1,22. Excellent. How do we get that? So guys, you have to look, if you are converting from a currency, so we've got the price here in American dollars, that's 35,58. And if you think about it like this, so you need to convert that rate of 1,22, that is the dollar rate, to the pounds. Then you have to divide, because you're actually going from a less strong currency to a weaker currency. So no, other way around, from a less strong currency to a stronger currency, because 1 pound gets you $1,22. So if you have the dollars to work back to the pounds, you have to divide. Okay, right. Where are we going now? Oh, we are off to the Kruger Park. Let's see, we've got 2 more stops to go. So in this case, we have Camille, who was going to the Kruger Park in South Africa on a safari. The safari cost £758 when she booked it in the UK. How much did this excursion cost in South African rands? So here's our exchange rate, 16,64. So 1 pound is going to give you 16,64 rand. So you guys can imagine that if you are British, you only take out 1 pound, but you get 16 of them back. So how much does this cost in South African rand? 758. And that's right. I agree with that. We're going to take our 758 and times it by the rands, which is 12,613,12. Good stuff. Well done, everybody. Off to our last spot, which is Daria, who goes to the Taj Mahal. That's one place I want to go, is the Taj Mahal. During a recent trip to India, she booked the coach journey from her hotel to the Taj Mahal before she left the UK. It costs £13.5. And how much is that in rupees? So here's our rupees. So £1, again, you take out £1 and you get 81.66 rupees. So you guys can see that because it is bigger. Yeah, that's right. Well done. Okay, so we're going to take the 13.50 and we times it by 81.66. So in rupees, it's going to be a lot more. So that's why we times 1102.41 rupees. Okay, well done, everyone. That was our quick trip around the world with our currencies. And we